The planet was silent at night except for the soft hum of wind brushing over broken stones and metal ruins. On a cliff above the alien town, a man lay still under a worn camouflage cloak. His rifle rested on the rocks, the scope glowing faint blue. Through it, he watched a small alien girl walking home under the moonlight. She was only 10 years old, her silver eyes wide with wonder, her thin tail swaying as she hummed a quiet tune. She didn't know that a human sniper had been watching her every step for years. He adjusted his scope and whispered to himself, "Target safe, mission complete." His voice was tired but calm. Every night ended with those same words. He never said her name. He didn't need to. She was the reason he stayed alive. The man, his name long forgotten by everyone except the military database, had once been part of a special unit assigned to protect key alien civilians during the ceasefire. But the command was lost, the base destroyed, and the others went home. Only he remained. No one ordered him to stay, yet he did. For 10 years. Each morning he moved before sunrise, always changing his hiding place. He learned the alien language by listening to old broadcasts. He tracked local threats, hunted food, and kept his rifle clean. Sometimes he found strange gifts left on the mountain path, bread, water, or a flower. Maybe from those who believed a spirit lived in the hills. He smiled under his mask. Let them believe it. The less they knew, the safer she stayed. Down below, the alien girl grew up. Her world was small, just her home, her work, and the temple where she prayed for peace. She often felt eyes on her, a strange warmth like someone was looking out for her. Once, when she wandered too far into the valley, a shot rang out from nowhere. A beast that was ready to attack her fell dead before it could reach her. She froze, trembling, looking around. But there was no one. Only the wind. That night, from his perch, the sniper whispered again, "You're safe." He had saved her countless times, bandits, predators, even stray soldiers from old factions who hunted her species. His rifle spoke only when needed. Each bullet carried a purpose, protection, not war. But still, he felt the weight of every life he took. When the nights grew cold, he sometimes talked to her photo. It was old, taken years ago when she was a child, smiling with her parents before the bombing. "You'd hate me if you knew," he murmured, "but I'll keep you safe anyway." One evening, as red lightning flickered in the distance, he saw new movement in his scope, shadows crawling near her home. 4 figures with cloaked armor. He adjusted the zoom. They weren't locals, mercenaries. He didn't hesitate. One by one, silent flashes lit the dark. 3 fell instantly. The 4th ran, leaving a trail of dust. The sniper watched until the area was clear. Then, as always, he whispered the same words, "Mission complete." But something was different this time. The girl had stepped out of her house. She looked around, sensing something. She stared right at the mountain, right where he was hidden. His heartbeat quickened. She couldn't possibly see him. Still, her gaze didn't move. For a long moment, it felt like she was staring straight into his soul. Then she bowed her head, whispered something, and went back inside. The sniper stayed frozen. His hands trembled slightly. "She knows," he breathed, though he didn't know how. Hours passed. The storm came. Rain poured over his shelter, seeping through cracks. He didn't sleep. His thoughts wouldn't stop. 10 years of silence, 10 years of shadows, and for the first time, he wondered if she could ever forgive him for watching her life from behind a scope. At dawn, the sun broke through the clouds, lighting the alien city in gold. The sniper cleaned his rifle, checked his logbook, and wrote, "Day 3, 648, target alive." Still unaware. Mission continues. He looked through the scope one last time that morning. The girl was helping children near the temple, laughing. The sound didn't reach him, but he felt it. It was strange how something so far away could make him feel human again. He lowered the rifle, staring at the sky that both their worlds shared. "One day," he whispered softly, "you'll see me." Then he disappeared into the mist, leaving no trace, as the legend of the ghost sniper of Lurea spread once again across the alien town. But in his heart, a quiet fear grew, because he knew the day she truly saw him would be the day everything changed. Rain fell for 3 days straight, turning the alien valley into a sea of mist and echoes. Hidden beneath a rusted observation dome, the human sniper wiped condensation off his scope. He hadn't slept properly in days. Every few minutes he swept the rifle across the small alien town, searching for danger. His breath fogged inside the mask, his fingers steady despite the cold. It had been 10 years since his ship crashed here, 10 years since he received his last transmission. Hold the line. Protect the asset. The message ended mid-sentence and no one ever came back. But the man stayed. Maybe it was duty. Maybe guilt. Or maybe, in some broken part of him, he needed to protect something pure to remember he was still human. Through the rain, he spotted movement near the market square. The alien girl, no longer a child, was helping elders lift fallen supplies. Her silver hair clung to her neck, her tail flicking as she worked. The sight pulled a tired smile across his face. She was strong now, kind and fearless. He'd watched her grow from a scared child into someone who gave hope to others. But danger never truly left this place. In the shadows of the lower district, 3 ex-soldiers gathered around a fire. They weren't locals. The sniper recognized their armor, scavenged from human wrecks. Mercenaries. He adjusted the scope and listened through his audio relay. The words came in fragments: girl, bounty, human tech. He cursed under his breath. Someone had leaked her location. The sniper's mind worked fast. If they attacked, panic would follow. Too many innocents. He needed to end it quietly. That night, as the storm deepened, he packed his rifle and crawled through tunnels beneath the old battlefield. His boots sank in mud as he moved silently toward the town's edge. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. The closer he got, the louder the thunder became. It masked his approach perfectly. In a narrow alley, he saw them, 3 shapes moving toward her home. Their weapons glowed faintly red. They were confident, unaware death watched them from the dark. The first never saw the shot. A single suppressed round cracked the air and he dropped soundlessly. The second turned in confusion, and before he could shout, the sniper's knife cut through his throat. The third ran, slipping in the rain, firing blindly into the shadows. The sniper waited, patient, letting the panic build. Then he stepped forward and pressed the cold barrel against the man's back. "Who sent you?" he asked quietly. The alien mercenary froze. "We were paid just to capture her, not kill her. Who paid you?" "I don't, The sniper's grip tightened. "A man from the stars said she was important, said he wanted her alive." The sniper's eyes narrowed. A human client. That changed everything. He released the man only to fire once more, clean, silent, final. No loose ends. Then he disappeared before dawn, leaving no evidence behind. From a distance, he watched the girl awaken to the sound of rain. She found the dead mercenaries near her home and froze. The villagers gathered, whispering about ghosts again. Some said the gods protected her. Others said a lost soldier still wandered the hills. She looked up toward the mountains, her eyes soft with gratitude. "Whoever you are," she whispered. "Thank you." The sniper heard her voice through the long-range mic, faint and trembling. It hit him harder than any bullet ever could. For years he'd stayed silent, never letting her know, but now her words burned in his chest. That night he sat in his bunker, staring at the old hollow photo of his fallen squad. "They died so you could live," he muttered, voice breaking. "And I'm still here. Because of you." He replayed her whisper again and again, until his communicator crackled with a sound he hadn't heard in years. A coded ping, human encryption. He froze. Then a message appeared on his cracked wrist screen. "Unit 7B mission update. Target's DNA confirmed. Prepare extraction." His pulse quickened. Extraction? After 10 years? He stared at the message, torn between relief and dread. He typed back. "Negative. Civilian stable. Do not interfere," but no reply came. Only static. He looked out over the alien town again. She was lighting lanterns near the temple, her face glowing in the soft firelight. And deep inside, the sniper felt something change. The world was shifting again. He whispered to himself, "You're not my mission anymore. You're my reason." But far away in the clouds above, an unmarked dropship moved silently through the rain. Its scanners locked onto her position. And for the first time in 10 years, the sniper realized he wasn't the only one watching her anymore. The night was heavy with fog and the stars hid behind gray clouds. The sniper sat in silence, cleaning his rifle for the 1,000th time. The echo of that message, "Prepare extraction," wouldn't leave his head. It had been 10 years since he last heard a human voice. 10 years since command vanished. So who had sent it now? He powered up his long-range scanner, tracing the source. The signal came from orbit, bouncing between satellites that shouldn't even exist anymore. It wasn't a random ping. Someone out there had found her, and they wanted her. The sniper frowned behind his mask. "Not happening," he whispered. He adjusted his cloak, locked his rifle, and scanned the alien town again. The girl was still awake, sitting on her rooftop, staring at the same stars he once wished to go home to. Her hair shimmered faintly in the moonlight. In her hand, she held a small radio device, old, rusted, half-broken. He zoomed in, his breath catching. She was speaking into it. "Is anyone out there? Please. If you can hear me, something's coming." "I can feel it." His heart stopped. The voice carried through the frequency like a ghost calling through the dark. She had found an old human distress beacon, probably from the wrecks near the valley. She had no idea someone was really listening. He turned up the gain, trying to decode the weak signal. Static hissed, then her voice again, soft, desperate. "They say there's a ghost who protects me, but maybe he's gone. Maybe I was never worth saving." He gritted his teeth. "Don't say that." For years he had kept her safe, killed for her, bled for her. She didn't even know his name. He pressed the comm switch, hesitated, then spoke for the first time in a decade. "You were always worth it," he said quietly, knowing she couldn't hear him. His transmission stayed muted, locked behind military encryption. But saying it still mattered. Moments later, the radar alarm blared, a faint red blip moving fast. A ship, small, armed, dropping through the atmosphere. He grabbed his gear and climbed the rocky ridge overlooking the valley. His eyes followed the burning trail in the clouds until the ship vanished behind the mountains. He switched to thermal view, multiple heat signatures. A squad, human armor. Private military, not official army. "Damn it," he hissed. "They're already here." Down below, the girl sensed something too. The lights in her village flickered. She looked to the sky, clutching the broken radio. "Whoever's listening," she whispered, "please, don't let them take me." The sniper's hands tightened on the rifle. "Not while I'm breathing." He sprinted across the ridge, cloak fluttering in the wind. His boots slipped on the wet stone, but his body moved like it remembered every path, every step, every blind corner. He set up position above the village's eastern wall, where the intruders would land. Through the scope, he counted them. 5 men in black armor carrying stun rifles and scanners. One of them was speaking in English. "Targets close. Grab the alien female." Orders are no lethal force unless she resists. They were efficient, professional, but they didn't know him. The first man raised his weapon. The sniper fired once. The body fell before it even hit the ground. The other spun in panic. He took 2 more before the rest scattered into cover. The last one threw a flare into the air, lighting the valley red. "Contact! We're compromised!" the soldier shouted. The sniper switched channels, intercepting their comms. "Pull back! There's a Class S marksman in the area." He smirked coldly. "That's me." From the rooftops, the alien girl saw flashes of light and smoke. She froze in terror, clutching her radio again. "Please, someone, tell me what's happening." He couldn't respond. If he did, they'd trace him. So he fought in silence, as always. One by one, he hunted them through the shadows until the last man stood, trembling, gun shaking in the rain. The sniper approached quietly, rifle raised. "Who sent you?" The man hesitated, fear in his voice. "They said she's not just alien, she's connected to the network. Some kind of key. The one who controls her controls the old systems." The sniper's stomach dropped. A key he didn't understand, but it explained everything. Why command vanished. Why someone waited 10 years to move. He fired. The man fell and the rain washed the blood away. When silence finally returned, he looked toward her home again. She stood outside now, looking straight toward the mountains. Her radio crackled once more. "If you're still out there," she whispered. "Thank you. Whoever you are." The sniper lowered his weapon. He wanted to speak back, to tell her his name, his story, everything, but his throat closed. He just whispered into the wind. "Always." Then he vanished into the fog again. But high above the clouds, a new signal pulsed, stronger, clearer. A woman's voice echoed through encrypted channels. "Sniper Unit 7B, you've interfered with classified operations. You've made yourself a target." He looked at the glowing sky, jaw tight. "Let them come," he muttered. Because as long as that alien girl still breathed, he wasn't done yet. The air smelled of smoke and metal. Dawn broke over the valley, painting the alien sky in pale red light. The sniper lay motionless in the ruins above the town, his rifle beside him and his mind racing. The night's battle had ended, but the silence felt wrong, too heavy, too still. He scanned the town through his scope. The alien girl was safe for now, helping rebuild what little damage had been done, but there was something in her movements, a weight in her eyes. She knew someone had protected her again. The people whispered of the ghost, leaving small offerings at the mountain's base. She prayed silently at the temple every morning, her voice rising through the mist. He could almost hear it in the wind, but the sniper wasn't at peace. The enemy wasn't gone. That night he decoded fragments from the mercenary's broken data chip. It carried a name he hadn't heard in years, Roth Varn, a warlord from the last conflict. Ruthless, intelligent, the kind of man who never stopped until his goal was complete. And now Varn was back, leading a new army of machines and mercs. His target? The same alien girl. The sniper tightened his gloves. He had killed many monsters in his time, but Varn was different. Varn had once commanded humans and aliens alike before betraying both sides for power, and now he wanted her, for whatever secret she carried in her blood. As darkness fell, the sniper moved through the ruins like a shadow. He checked hidden mines, reinforced the defense zones he'd built years ago, and buried ammo caches. The rain started again, falling in silver threads that blurred his vision, but he didn't stop. Every step, every click of metal reminded him why he stayed here for 10 years. At midnight, his motion sensors beeped softly, multiple signals entering the valley. He zoomed in. A convoy of armored vehicles rolled through the fog, bearing black banners marked with Varn's emblem. A serpent coiled around a star. "They're early," the sniper whispered. Through his headset, static crackled. And then, a voice. Deep, smooth, familiar. 10 years, soldier. 10 years hiding from your own kind. Did you really think I wouldn't find you? Varn's voice. He was broadcasting directly. The sniper froze for a moment, then answered coldly. You talk too much, Varn. A laugh echoed through the channel. Still protecting her? How human of you. Tell me, does she even know what you are? What you've done? The sniper's finger hovered over the trigger. She doesn't need to. Then let's see how long your silence lasts, Varn replied. The transmission ended and the night exploded with light. Missiles streaked across the sky. The sniper rolled behind cover as the mountains shook. His traps triggered one after another, sending fireballs into the storm. Through his scope, he saw Varn's troops spreading out, drones swarming above like insects. He fired once, then again. 2 drones fell, crashing into the mud. He switched positions, his cloak flickering with adaptive camouflage. The battle became a deadly dance of sound and silence. He shot, moved, vanished, shot again. But for every enemy he dropped, 2 more appeared. Down in the town, alarms blared. The alien girl ran to gather the children, guiding them into the temple. Fear spread fast, but she stayed calm, her voice steady. She looked once toward the mountains, whispering, Please, come back, spirit, he heard her. Even through the chaos, her voice reached him. He reloaded, fired, reloaded again. A sniper drone locked onto his heat signature, firing a plasma burst that scorched the rocks beside him. He rolled down the slope, landing hard on his shoulder. Pain shot through his body, but he ignored it. He pulled out a grenade, counted to 3, and threw it. The explosion shattered the drone midair. Then he saw him, Varn, standing tall among the smoke, armored in dark metal, eyes glowing crimson. His mechanical arm held a plasma sword that hummed like thunder. He was walking straight toward the girl's home. The sniper's heart pounded. He aimed, but something blocked the shot, an energy shield around Varn. You can't stop evolution, Varn shouted, his voice amplified. She's mine, old man. The sniper moved closer, crawling through debris. He had 1 bullet left in his primary rifle, custom alloy, anti-shield. His hand shook slightly as he aimed, breathing slow and steady. For her, he whispered. He fired. The bullet hit dead center, cracking Varn's shield and sending him stumbling back. Smoke covered the field. The sniper didn't wait to see if he was dead. He sprinted down toward the town, pain in every step. When he reached the edge of the temple, the girl was already inside, surrounded by frightened children. She looked up, sensing movement in the fog. For a brief moment, their eyes met, her silver ones wide with disbelief. His hidden behind a cracked visor. The world froze. She gasped softly, whispering, You're real. He wanted to speak, to tell her everything, but Varn's voice echoed again from the comms. Not over yet. Soldier. Then a blast tore through the temple walls. The sniper threw himself forward, shielding her with his body as the shockwave hit. The world turned white. When the smoke cleared, only silence remained. But through the dust, one thought burned in the sniper's mind. Varn wasn't dead. He had seen too many ghosts come back before, and this time the war had just begun. The world smelled like ash and thunder. Smoke drifted through the broken temple as morning light crawled slowly across the ruins. The sniper woke first, half buried under stone, blood running down his arm. His body screamed in pain, but his mind was still sharper than ever. He rolled aside, coughing, his ears ringing from the explosion. He looked around. The alien girl lay nearby, covered in dust but breathing. The children she had shielded were alive, trembling but safe. Relief flooded through him like a storm breaking. He had done his job. Again. He pushed the rubble off his legs, limping toward her. His cloak was torn and his visor cracked, the lens flickering weakly. For the first time in years, she would see his face if she looked up. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. Through the haze, she saw a tall figure kneeling beside her. Armor scratched, rifle across his back, face half hidden by a broken mask. Her silver eyes widened. "You," she whispered. "You're real." The sniper froze. He wanted to vanish, to melt into shadow like always, but something in her voice held him there, soft, trembling, filled with wonder. "Rest," he said quietly, his voice rough from years of silence. "You're safe. Who are you?" she asked. But before he could answer, the temple's bell tower collapsed behind them. He grabbed her and pulled her out just in time. The blast of dust blinded her again, and when she opened her eyes, he was gone. Only his words echoed in her mind. "You're safe." That single moment changed everything. By nightfall, the story had spread across the valley like wildfire. Villagers spoke of a phantom soldier who appeared from the ruins, saving the priestess and vanishing into the smoke. They called him the Ghost Sniper. Children drew his shape in the dust. Merchants told travelers about the unseen guardian, and some even left lanterns on the cliffs to guide his spirit home. The girl, now more respected than ever, refused to correct them. She only said softly, "He's not a ghost. He's real, and he's still out there." Up in the mountains, the sniper listened through his old receiver, hearing every rumor. He sat alone by a dying fire, his arm bandaged, his shoulder cracked from the blast. Every movement hurt, but he didn't care. The people he had protected for 10 years were alive. That was enough. He opened his field journal, a book worn from years of dust and rain. On the next line, he wrote, "Day 3177. Asset confirmed alive. Witnessed me for the first time. Mission compromised." His pen paused. Then he added, "But worth it." Outside, lightning flashed again. He looked up at the sky, eyes narrowing. He could feel it in his bones. Varn wasn't dead. The warlord had survived worse before. This was only a taste of what was coming. He powered up his drone and sent it toward the old crash site miles away. Hours later, the feed came through. Wreckage burned, but a new structure stood there now. A signal tower, human-made. Varn was rebuilding, calling in reinforcements. The sniper leaned back, his jaw tight. "You're getting desperate, old friend." Meanwhile, in the town below, the alien girl lit candles at the temple's edge. In her hand was something she had found among the rubble, a broken dog tag, metal bent and scorched. It had a single word still visible on it. "Kellen." She whispered the name softly. "Kellen, is that you?" The next day, she climbed the mountains alone. The villagers warned her not to. "The ghost doesn't like to be seen," they said. But she didn't listen. She followed the faint trails of footprints, the smell of gunpowder, and the lingering heat of old campfires. When she reached the top ridge, she found nothing, only a carved mark on a rock. A sniper's insignia half worn by time. She knelt beside it and placed the dog tag there. "I don't know who you are," she whispered, "but thank you." Miles away through his scope, the sniper watched her. He saw her place the tag down, bow her head, and whisper his name again. For a moment, his heartbeat faltered. He could tell her now. He could step out and end the lie, but he didn't. He lowered the rifle, turned off the scope, and disappeared into the mist once more. That night, he sat beside the flickering campfire and opened an old, cracked photo, his squad smiling before the war. He stared at his own face among them, younger, cleaner, human. He whispered softly, "She knows my name now. That's enough." The firelight danced against the metal of his rifle. Far away, thunder rolled again and static buzzed faintly through his earpiece. A new voice came through, deep, metallic, mocking. Still playing hero, Kellen? Varn the sniper's eyes hardened. You didn't kill me. You didn't kill her. Try again, Varn chuckled. Oh, I will. Next time I'll make sure she sees what kind of monster you really are. The signal cut, leaving only silence. Kellen stared at the horizon until dawn, knowing the next fight would not be in the shadows anymore. For 10 years he had lived unseen, but now his secret was broken, his name known, and his enemies closing in. The ghost sniper of Luria had stepped into the light, and there was no turning back. Days turned into weeks after the temple attack, but the valley never truly recovered. The people rebuilt their homes, yet fear hung heavy in the air. The girl, now known among her people as Priestess Elira, led them with quiet strength, though her heart carried a shadow. Every night she looked up at the mountains where the sniper once appeared. Every dawn she whispered the same name into the wind. Kellen. The name she found on that scorched tag had become her prayer. She had never met a human before. The story said they were warriors of fire and steel, quick to destroy and quick to die. But he was different. He saved her, protected her, never asked for thanks. Why would a man stay hidden for 10 years just to guard a stranger? The question burned in her mind like a wound that wouldn't heal. One night, unable to rest, Elira followed her instinct. The stars glowed faintly through the mist as she packed light and climbed toward the old ridges where the ghost sniper was last seen. The trail was rough and cold, but something guided her forward, something more than curiosity. It felt like destiny pulling her by the hand. Hours passed before she reached the upper ridge. There, hidden beneath jagged rocks, she found a faint shimmer, metal under moonlight. She brushed away the dirt and froze. A small door, half buried. A bunker. Elira hesitated. Her fingers trembled as she opened the rusted hatch. The air that escaped was thick with dust and memory. Inside, darkness waited. She stepped down carefully, her small light flickering over cracked walls and human writing etched into steel plates. On a table lay a broken helmet with a single visor crack, the one she remembered. Beside it, a rifle carefully cleaned and a small book covered in ash. She picked it up. The first page was filled with short, sharp words. Day 142, asset secure. Contact lost. Day 302, requesting extraction. No response. Day 1000, no command. Continue mission. Each line colder than the last. She turned more pages and then she found a drawing. Her, as a child, laughing near the temple gates. A simple sketch but full of warmth. Her breath caught. He had been watching all these years, not as a soldier but as someone who cared. Another page. A photo. A group of humans in uniform. One face was circled, Kellen. Younger, smiling, alive. Underneath it, written in faded ink, "We protect so they can dream." Her hands shook. Tears blurred her eyes. This wasn't a ghost. This was a man who lost everything and still stayed. She placed her palm on the table and whispered, "You weren't protecting a mission. You were protecting me." The bunker lights flickered suddenly. She gasped. The system still worked. The hum of power echoed faintly through the walls. Then a weak voice, electronic broken, crackled from a nearby speaker. "Unit 7B, mission log active. Unknown access detected." Elira turned slowly. A dim hologram flickered to life. It was Kellen, recorded years ago. His image shimmered, half-transparent, his voice low and steady. "If someone finds this, then I failed to stay invisible. The girl Elira is safe, I hope. Tell her. I stayed because it mattered. Because she reminded me that humanity isn't about war. It's about what we protect." Her lips parted, trembling. "Kellen." The hologram flickered again. "If she ever learns my name, tell her I was proud of her, and that she made me remember what it meant to be human." Then the light died. Silence. Elira dropped to her knees, tears falling on the dusty floor. For years she had prayed to a ghost, but he had been praying for her all along. As she wiped her eyes, her light caught something else. An alert screen blinking red. A message. She stepped closer. Tracking signal detected. Unauthorized access. Coordinates broadcast. Her blood ran cold. Someone was listening. Before she could react, thunder cracked outside. The ground shook as engines roared overhead. Through the open hatch, she saw dark shapes descending from the clouds. Ships. Human ships. Varn's crest painted on their hulls. "No," she whispered. They followed me here. Miles away on a different ridge, Kellen's sensors flared to life. His communicator beeped wildly, mapping the energy signals around the valley. He saw the red dots, hundreds, converging on the exact bunker coordinates. His heart dropped. "Elira," he breathed. "You found it." He didn't hesitate. Grabbing his rifle and sidearm, he ran toward the mountains, lungs burning, legs aching. The years of hiding were over. The storm above split the sky, lightning flashing across his scarred armor. He had only one thought left, not again. In the bunker, Elira clutched his rifle to her chest, heart racing. The ground trembled with the landing of heavy boots. She could hear the metallic growl of approaching soldiers. Then, from outside, a voice thundered through the rain. "Step away from the door." She looked up. The voice wasn't Varn's. It was human, but familiar. Deep, rough, Kellen. Through the smoke, his figure appeared, cloak whipping in the storm, rifle blazing blue. The ghost sniper had returned, and this time, he wasn't hiding anymore. The sky burned crimson as enemy dropships tore through the clouds. The roar of engines shook the mountain, sending stones tumbling down the slopes. Inside the hidden bunker, Elira held Kellen's rifle tightly against her chest. Her hands trembled not from fear, but from the realization that the ghost she had prayed to for 10 years was real. And coming for her, outside, thunder and plasma fire merged into one endless storm. Kellen sprinted through the rain-soaked cliffs, every muscle screaming in pain. His armor was cracked, his vision blurred, but his mind was sharp, focused. The mountains he had called home for a decade were now burning under enemy fire. Drones circled above like vultures, scanning for him, but he didn't care. His only thought was the same one that had kept him alive for 10 long years. Protect her. He slid behind a rock, raised his rifle, and took down 3 soldiers in one breath. Blue sparks lit the fog as their armor shattered. The rest hesitated. They had heard the stories. The ghost sniper of Lurea. The shadow that killed silently and vanished without a trace. But tonight, the ghost wasn't hiding. He moved like lightning, switching weapons, laying traps and forcing the enemy to scatter. Every shot he fired echoed through the valley like a heartbeat. He was buying time for her. Inside the bunker, Elira activated the old defense systems. Sirens wailed as metal doors sealed shut. She ran toward the console, remembering Kellen's recorded words. "Protect what matters." Her fingers shook as she inputted a code from his notebook. Lights flickered and a hidden compartment opened on the wall. Inside was a glowing blue crystal pulsing faintly. She recognized it from ancient alien texts. A memory core, holding encrypted knowledge, maybe even the reason Varn wanted her alive. This is what you were guarding," she whispered. "Not me, this." But another voice answered from the shadows. "Wrong, priestess." He guarded both. Elira spun around. Varn stepped through the smoke, his black armor reflecting the flickering lights. His crimson eyes glowed through his visor. "You should be honored," he said smoothly. "A human soldier disobeyed his own kind for you." She backed away, clutching the rifle. "Why do you want me?" Varn smiled. "Because your DNA holds the key to the network. You were born near a fusion site when human and alien technology collided. You are the bridge, Elira. With you I can control both worlds." Before she could react, a shot rang out. Varn staggered as a bullet struck his shoulder, sparks flying. The sound echoed through the bunker. Kellen stepped into the light, soaked, bleeding, his rifle still smoking. "Step away from her," he said. Elira gasped, tears filling her eyes. "Kellen." He gave her a faint smile, one that hid years of pain. "You shouldn't have come here." Varn straightened, laughing darkly. The legendary ghost. I wondered how long you'd last without your shadows." He ignited his plasma blade, red light reflecting in the dust. "Let's end this old story." Kellen didn't answer. He fired again. The shot glanced off Varn's shield, but the force sent the warlord stumbling back. Kellen dove forward, tackling him, both crashing into the steel floor. Sparks flew as they fought, human strength against machine power. Every movement was desperate, raw, and final. Elira watched helplessly as the two figures clashed. She wanted to run to help, but Kellen's voice echoed in her mind. "Stay safe. That's my job." The fight was brutal. Varn's plasma blade sliced across Kellen's side, searing armor and flesh. Kellen grunted in pain, but his eyes stayed locked on the enemy. With his last strength, he grabbed the detonator from his belt and pressed it against Varn's chest. You talk too much, he growled. Then he pulled the trigger. The explosion shook the entire mountain. The bunker's walls cracked, flames burst through vents, and the ceiling began to collapse. Alira screamed as debris rained down. When the smoke cleared, Varn was gone. Nothing left but scorched metal. Kellen lay on the ground, barely breathing. His helmet was shattered, revealing the worn, scarred face beneath, human, broken, but alive. Alira rushed to him, kneeling beside him as his eyes slowly opened. "You found me," he whispered weakly. She grabbed his hand, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I was never supposed to," she said, her voice trembling. "You were always the one watching." He smiled faintly. "Guess I wasn't invisible anymore. Why?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Why stay all these years?" His eyes softened. "Because someone had to remind me what being human meant." "You did that." She shook her head, clutching his hand tighter. "You can't leave me now." "Not after I found you," but his breathing grew slower, weaker. He looked at her one last time, eyes calm, almost peaceful. "You're safe now." "That's all I ever wanted." She pressed his hand against her chest, sobbing. "Kellen, please." The wind howled through the broken bunker, carrying his whisper into the night. Mission complete. The light in his eyes faded. Outside, the storm cleared. The first rays of dawn touched the valley, painting the world in gold. The villagers found Alira at the mountain's base, kneeling beside a grave made of stones. Her eyes were red but steady. She had placed his rifle beside the marker, and the metal tag that bore his name, Kellen. From that day on, every year, the people of Lurea lit lanterns along the ridge to honor the ghost who had watched over them. And sometimes, when the wind passed through the mountains, it carried a whisper, soft, distant, human. "You're safe."